My name is Christina Hayes, and at 22 years old, I thought graduating with honors from Dallas Music Institute's Plano campus would finally crack through the wall my family built around me. 4 years of scraping by with 3 dead-end jobs, endless late nights strumming my guitar until my fingers bled, and enough rejection to fill a Texas-sized landfill had all led to this. When my parents actually showed up to the post-ceremony party at the county fair hall, I let myself believe stupidly maybe that they were ready to see me the real me, not the disappointment they'd scripted in their heads. That belief shattered faster than a dropped whiskey glass when my mom slammed her hand on the table, amid the clink of silverware and low hum of small talk from 50 guests, neighbors, professors, old high school faces all crammed into that upscale hall with its wide-open Texas skies peeking through the windows. "You're nothing but a thorn in everyone's side." She burst out, her voice slicing through the room like a courtroom gavel. My sister leaned in close, her whisper dripping venom right in my ear. "Go find a hole and crawl into it." And then my dad, red-faced and slurring just enough from the open bar, piled on, "We wish you were never born." I stood tall, locked eyes with them both, and said, "If that's what you wish, then consider me as if I never existed." Before anyone could blink, I pulled out my phone and hit send on the message I'd been holding like a loaded gun. The room froze, forks mid-air, conversations dying. I walked out, heels clicking steady on the polished floor, leaving the silence to swallow them whole. 15 minutes later, the whole party erupted into panic phones, blowing up, whispers turning to shouts, guests scrambling like the fair lights had gone dark. If you're watching this, drop a comment on where you're tuning in from. I'm spilling how that thorn they cursed me for became the one that finally drew their blood. That message, it was the match lighting the fuse on everything I'd been building for years. I'd hit send on a single text that fanned out to 3 carefully chosen recipients, like roots digging into dry Texas soil: the HR director at Dallas Methodist Hospital, the disciplinary arm of the State Bar of Texas, and a tip line at the Dallas Morning News that thrived on suburban scandals. Each one carried attachments, digital payloads of proof I'd gathered in shadows starting from the summer I packed my guitar and left the Plano house behind at 18. The HR packet targeted my dad, David Hayes, the meticulous administrator who'd turned Methodist's operations into a machine of precision schedules and zero-tolerance policies. Tucked inside were timestamps, audio files from those forced family gatherings where his voice cracked under bourbon haze, admitting to late-night trysts with a charge nurse in the East Wing supply closet. Slurred confessions of favoritism, barked orders laced with threats that skirted harassment lines enough to trigger an immediate audit in a system where one whisper of impropriety could halt promotions cold. Plano's tight-knit medical circles would amplify it overnight, turning his corner office into a ghost town. Next came the bar submission aimed square at my mom, Linda Hayes, the relentless attorney whose Dallas firm bio boasted Supreme Court briefs and multi-million settlements. The files included redacted court docs with mismatched metadata, emails swapping witness affidavits like poker chips, and a damning chain showing she'd buried a key deposition to swing a property dispute last fall. No blood on the pages, but the kind of procedural sleight of hand that ethics committees devoured, especially when it risked client trust in a state where bar complaints spiked 20% yearly. And Dorothy, Mom's quieter sister teaching finger painting to Plano kindergartners, had forwarded the originals during a coffee meetup, her voice low over the steam. "Use it wisely, kiddo. She's the one who taught us to fight dirty." The news got the montage-spliced clips of holiday roasts where every toast circled back to my brother Brandon, the flawless eldest at 25, Harvard valedictorian, now dissecting cadavers at Johns Hopkins on a fast track to surgeon stardom. Soundbites of Dad's gravelly, "Why can't you measure up?" clashing with Mom's clipped, "He's changing lives, you're chasing noise." Topped with last year's Thanksgiving tirade, Brandon's arm around his polished dental fiancé, while they dissected my latest acoustic set as backyard fiddling. The anonymous drop read, Behind Plano's picture-perfect facade, a family's breaking point. For the first 4 minutes, my phone lay dormant in my palm. As I lingered just beyond the hall's glowing exit, the faint twang of a country cover band drifting out like a bad omen. The Plano night wrapped cool around me, carrying scents of barbecue smoke from lingering fair vendors. Then the deluge hit, a single vibration swelling into a storm. By minute 8, alerts piled like storm debris, 47 notifications in under 30 minutes. Mom's number dominated with 20 furious voicemails, her lawyer tone fracturing into pleas, laced with accusations. Dad's 15 were curt grunts turning to curses, his admin calm shattering as he pieced together the breach. Brandon chipped in 10, his med student poise cracking with demands for explanations, each one ending in a sharp, "Pick up Chris, this is insane." Even Mackenzie squeezed in 2, her texts a mix of emojis and half-sent apologies that read more like panic than regret. The hall's murmur twisted into a frenzy I could feel through the walls, silverware clattering as hands fumbled devices, the open bar line dissolving into huddles. Plano's social web tightened like a noose. In this suburb of sprawling lawns and HOA meetings, word traveled faster than a brush fire. By minute 12, Mom's shriek pierced the doors. "What the hell is this on my email?" Followed by Dad's bellowed, "Get the car now!" Footsteps thundered, guests scattering as the Hayes trio barreled out, Mom's heels skidding on polished oak, Dad's tie askew like a noose, half-tied. Brandon trailed phone aloft, as if it held the cure, barking into it about emergency counsel, while neighbors shot glances loaded with tomorrow's gossip. They didn't pause for Mackenzie, who trailed last, her fair-weather poise crumbling as her screen lit with the ripple effects. The county fair hall, once buzzing with congratulations, emptied like a punctured balloon, professors excusing themselves, politely old classmates snapping discreet photos. I slipped farther into the shadows, the weight lifting not from vengeance but from the simple truth that the thorn they'd dismissed had finally rooted deep enough to choke their garden. The hall's air thickened with the kind of Plano humidity that stuck to skin, but it was the growing buzz that choked the room. At 8:51, a silver-haired professor from the institute broke the ice, his tweed jacket rustling as he tilted his phone screen toward a cluster of alums. "You seeing this bar alert? Hayes, Linda Hayes flagged for review." The name hung like smoke, pulling in nearby tables where deacons and HOA types paused mid-bite, their polite smiles curdling into curiosity. Whispers sparked. "Ethics thing in Plano." 8:55 saw the band's steel guitar waver, the fiddler missing a beat as Mom's device lit up again, her face twisting at the bar's follow-up ping, detailed timestamps on those buried depositions cold and incriminating. She jabbed the screen voice, pitching sharp, "This is sabotage, who's behind it?" Dad hovered, his badge glinting under the chandeliers, but his reply died when his own pager joined the assault, HR's memo scrolling board alert on nurse logs. Guests leaned in, a neighbor from our street murmuring, "David, that sounds bad. Plano hospitals don't play with rumors." By 8:58, Brandon's phone thrummed insistently, his med student focus fracturing as Hopkins' emails piled. "Concerns noted from family sources, internship hold." He slammed it down, drawing eyes from across the hall. "This is fallout from Chris' total destruction." Mackenzie, her cheer poise slipping, scrolled frantically, gasping at early Twitter threads from Dallas feeds. "It's spreading, look, Chakar Hayes drama already." The county fair's Wi-Fi groaned, pulling in more screens as alums refreshed their post-grad cheers, souring to side eyes. 9:02 escalated, Dad's COO line, buzzing direct, the voice on speaker tinny and urgent. "Explain the affair, docs, or dawn meetings your last." He staggered back, chair legs screeching, scattering silverware. The room's pulse quickened, professors huddling over ethics clauses, deacons quoting scripture under breath. A church lady from Mom's firm circle clucked, "Sins catching up, Plano's too small for secrets." The fiddler faltered outright at 9:07, bow hovering as Mom shoved her chair napkin crumpling underfoot. "Out, everyone, out!" Her heels stabbed the floor, but hesitation gripped her at the door, eyes scanning for damage control. Guests surged to devices, now group chats igniting with, "Did you hear about the Hayes blow-up?" Mackenzie darted to the ladies' room, retches echoing back, while Brandon paced Circuit's PR voicemails stacking. 9:15 tipped the scale. A shaky video of the earlier snap surfaced, captioned, "Plano Power, Duo Unravels at Grad Bash," ricocheting through suburb strings. Views ticked to 2,000. Dallas Morning News retweeting anonymously. The manager, bow tie askew, wove through with a tablet. "Complaints rolling in, wrap it up, please." Alums bolted for exits, professors excusing with awkward hugs. The hall's glow dimming as fair lights outside beckoned escape. 9:22 brought the crest. Plano Thorn feud surging to 7,000 impressions, local influencers piling on with suburb royalty falls. Deacons dispersed, murmuring about Sunday sermons. HOA whispers promising block party boycotts. Mom whirled back, once dagger gaze sweeping empty tables. At 9:30, the manager locked the doors behind the stragglers, the band's amps powering down to silence. But the spark had caught the dry Plano brush. The silence outside didn't last. It started 4 years back, the summer I turned 18, and the Plano house felt like a pressure cooker ready to blow. I'd slipped into the garage that last night, guitar slung over my shoulder, and tucked a palm-sized voice recorder into my jeans pocket, a cheap model from the local Radio Shack battery life, just long enough for the drive to Jenna's place. Mom's voice echoed from the kitchen as I left. "You'll regret this, Christina, throwing away the Hayes legacy for strums and dreams." I hit record on the sly, capturing her final jab like a seed planted in cracked earth. The habit stuck from there, every forced visit home turning into a session. Thanksgiving 2021, I clipped the device under my sweater during Dad's annual toast, his words slurring over turkey, "Brandon's at Hopkins saving futures while you strum shadows." It snagged the undertone the way his eyes flicked to the empty chair where my old report cards used to sit. Birthdays, too, hidden in my purse as Mom dissected my part-time gigs at the fairground coffee cart. $15 an hour for noise, get real. The recorder whirred softly, logging each cut like receipts for a debt I never asked to owe. By sophomore year, I'd leveled up to Dad's study computer, his password, a lazy nod to our old Plano address, easy pickings during a quick visit when he stepped out for his hospital shift. The files unfolded like a bad novel, encrypted folders with nurse schedules overlapping his late nights chat logs with that East Wing colleague laced with emojis and alibis. I copied them to a thumb drive, heart pounding in the dim glow of his dual monitors, the hum of the AC masking my breaths. No heroes in capes, just a kid with a USB and a grudge. Aunt Dorothy became the quiet conduit that fall, pulling me aside after a rare lunch at her kindergarten classroom. "Your mom's been sloppy with those Dallas filings," she murmured, sliding a USB across the Formica table amid crayon drawings. Ethics board whispers I overheard at the Bar Association mixer. The drive held scanned memos, timestamp mismatches on affidavits she'd fudged for a land deal client. Dorothy's eyes, soft behind her glasses, held no judgment. She raised us to win at all costs. Now win back. Cloud storage swallowed it all by junior year. 847 files, tagged and timestamped in an encrypted Dropbox folder I accessed via VPN on Jenna's laptop. No stone unturned voicemails from Brandon gloating over his Harvard acceptance while dismissing my demo tape, Mackenzie's snide texts, mocking my fairground shifts as beggar busking. I pored over them during breaks at the Music Institute, cross-referencing with free legal blogs, learning the lingo of complaints and subpoenas. 6 months ago, I took it live with a consult at a Dallas firm pro bono hour from a junior attorney who'd heard my story at an open mic. "Airtight if timed right," he said, flipping through samples. "HR loves audio, bar eats procedural slips, drop at peak exposure, hit him when eyes are on." And tonight's County Fair Hall, peak Plano exposure, incarnate 50 witnesses from our manicured streets, primed for the gossip circuit that made suburb scandals legend. As I scrolled from the parking lot, shadows, Hotchtar haze, unraveled climbing to 15,000 views, the notifications layered like fallout, mom's firm partners texting pullbacks, dad's board looping in crisis mode. The plan wasn't rage-fueled whim, it was precision-forged in the quiet rage of those recordings now blooming into the kind of publicity that buried legacies under Texas dirt. 72 hours would show the full harvest. Dawn on day 3 broke gray over Plano's rooftops, but the Hayes house already hummed with fallout. At 72 hours post-send, Dad's termination letter arrived via courier, stamped with Methodist's seal, immediate separation due to confirmed conduct violations. The board had moved like lightning in Texas healthcare circles, where one leaked audio could tank stock whispers. His desk phone rang off the hook with vendor cuts. The COO line silent for the first time in decades. By noon, he'd cleared out box of plaques under arm, the drive home a blur of strip malls and half-built McMansions that mocked his fall. Mom's unraveling hit 48 hours later, the bar's suspension notice emailing at 9 a.m. sharp on day 5, a provisional hold pending hearing citing material misrepresentations in filings. Her firm partners convened virtually by lunch screens flickering with damage assessments, 2 clients pulling 6-figure retainers, a deposition rescheduled under ethics clouds. She paced the kitchen island, coffee cold, firing off counters to her assistant that bounced back undelivered. Plano's legal grapevine churned whispers at the county courthouse, turning heads her way during a routine filing run. Brandon's MedWorld tilted by day 6, Hopkins compliance office forwarding a flagged inquiry, external concerns regarding familial stability internship under review. The rumor mill greased by Dallas feeds painted him in gray strokes, golden boy from tainted stock, leading to a scrubbed elective rotation in orthopedics. He fired off emails to advisors, his Johns Hopkins email signature suddenly feeling like a target, the pressure cooker of residency apps squeezing tighter. Mackenzie's school life cracked open on day 4, the Plano ISD counselor's office, calling her out mid-algebra for a peer concern meeting. Hashtag threads had infiltrated teen group chat, screenshots of the Fair Hall video morphing into memes, Thorn Princess strikes. Lockers buzzed with sidelong stares, notes slipped under stall doors reading family freak. By week's end, transfer papers processed to a Frisco charter, her old squad ghosting mid-text, the suburbs youth circuit closing ranks against the stain. Divorce summons landed day 7, mom's filing clerk stamping it in Travis County Court, irreconcilable differences with addendums clawing at joint assets. Legal fees mounted like interest on a bad loan, draining the Vanguard account by $20,000 in retainers alone. Dad countered from a motel off I-635, his response laced with countersuits over the affair logs, turning their shared 401k into battleground. The house teetered into foreclosure whispers by Friday, the HOA president knocking with a clipboard. Overdue assessment scandal, or not dues, don't pause. Savings evaporated under attorney bills, the equity line tapped for hearing prep, leaving the 4-bedroom facade with a for sale shadow looming. Extended kin trickled in with calls that evening, Aunt Dorothy first. Proud of you, Chris. Someone had to shatter that Plano facade. Cousins from Dallas echoed their voicemails, a chorus of long overdue nods. We saw the rot years back. My studio inbox swelled too, James Grant's team routing sympathy queries into audition slots. Your stories pulling strings. Let's channel it. The crumble wasn't spectacle. It was the slow sift of sand from a Texas hourglass, grains falling until the frame stood empty. 1 month later, the sift turned to shatter. The motel room smelled of stale regret. High school hallways in Plano had been Mackenzie's stage long before mine, her cheer uniform a shield against the whispers I drew like flies. Sophomore year, she'd cornered me after a cafeteria open mic, her squad giggling behind pom-poms. Your guitar wail, total embarrassment, stick to shadows, Chris. I'd brushed it off, strumming harder in the band room, but the jabs piled notes in my locker mocking Thorn singer. her Instagram stories splicing my fairground busk clips with clown filters. Jealousy simmered under her perfect grades, and Squad Captain Crown, the little sister who'd begged for lessons until Dad cut funding. Waste of time, he'd said, and she'd echoed it, her eyes sharp as she scrolled my set lists on her phone. 1 month post-fair, that echo turned echo chamber. I'd met her at a neutral Starbucks off Legacy Drive, her transfer to Frisco. Still raw hoodie pulled low over the old Hayes poise. Need to talk family stuff. She fidgeted with her latte voice dropping. The mess. It's everywhere. But I got something. Her phone screen glowed with a fresh recording, my voice from 2 weeks back, venting over burner coffee about the plan's roots. They deserved the drop, every file a payback for years of shade. I'd spilled during a rare check-in, thinking blood thinned, but didn't break. She'd shopped it to a Dallas tabloid stringer by dawn, the payout wired $15,000 by noon, enough for her college tuition bump, her texts crowing, finally independent. The deal sealed with a NDA waiver, her signature neat beside the clause, forgiving familial context. The headline dropped 48 hours later. Plano Thorns' hidden sting, grad revenge fueled by sibling fury. Grainy audio snippets laced the piece, my words twisted under screaming caps, the byline splashing across Dallas rags and TikTok thumbnails. Views spiked to 50,000 overnight, Plano moms forwarding with shocked emojis. The suburbs PTA chain igniting debates on teen betrayal gone viral. Aunt Dorothy's call cut through at 7 p.m., her kindergarten voice steady over the line. Saw the rag, it's her Chris. That little snake sold your gut out. The pieces slotted Mackenzie's sudden cash flex on Insta, the tabloid's anonymous source close to the family tag. Betrayal burned clean, no mess, just the cold math of sibling math where survival trumped loyalty. I dialed her direct at 8:15, the ring echoing like a Plano echo chamber. She picked up on 3, breath hitching. Chris, look, it was just college costs. You know, Texas ain't cheap. And after the transfer. Her words tumbled, excuses stacking like unpaid bills. I needed it. You understand struggle, right? The gigs you hated paying off. Struggle. I cut in voice level as a fresh string. You mocked every chord, every busk. Now you cash in on my scars. DNA runs deep in this family, Mackenzie backstabbing's just the Hayes special. She stammered, please, tears cracking through. Please don't cut me. I'm sorry. Okay, we can fix. The line went dead on my end block, sliding into place across calls, texts, every digital thread. Plano's opinion split, jagged 60% forum posts cheering, sis, stood up, good riddance. The rest decrying, vengeful cycle in comment wars. Her begs flooded Jenna's inbox by midnight, voicemails cracking with sobs, promises of returns. But I forwarded them, unread, the Thorns' final twist, self-inflicted. Her silence stretched a ghost in the family feed. 1 year on the ghost haunted no more. The year blurred into tracks laid down in a rented booth off Legacy Drive, my Plano studio space, a far cry from the fairground carts I'd hustled. By spring, James Grant's endorsement had snowballed into 6 signees, raw talents from Dallas open mics, their demos stacking my calendar like fresh vinyl. The album Thorns and Texas Crowns dropped that July, its lead single snagging a viral TikTok loop from a Frisco influencer climbing to platinum certification by fall. Streams hit 2 million, checks clearing for $25,000 each quarter, the kind of windfall that bought out my lease and hired a sound engineer on retainer. Dad's descent anchored at a strip mall security post by Summer's End badge swapped for a fluorescent vest patrolling parking lots near the old Methodist campus. Shift stretched 12 hours, his admin polish dulled by radio checks and loiterer warnings, the divorce decree stripping his pension half. Plano sightings dwindled him in a pickup hauling yard waste, avoiding the neighborhood barbecues that once toasted his rise. Mom clawed into paralegal gigs by August, her Dallas firm blacklist, forcing a temp desk at a Collin County solo practice. Billable hours capped at $60 flat, affidavits typed for juniors who dodged her old briefs. The bar's final revocation hearing sealing it with a 2-year probation tag. She haunted the county library stacks, poring over appeals, her condo lease a downgrade from our sprawling 4-bed. Brandon's med path forked jagged come September. Hopkins, deferring his 3rd year on personal conduct review, the Plano Alumni Network whispering doubts into residency committees. Elective slots vanished, loans accruing interest while he crammed for retakes in a shared Dallas crash pad. His golden glow faded to fluorescent study lamps. Mackenzie scraped into Collins Community Circuit that October. The tabloid haul evaporated on dorm fees and a used Civic down payment. Isolation wrapped tight old cheer ghosts, faded new circles sniffing scandal before handshakes. She posted filtered sunsets from campus quads, captions laced with vague gratitude, but the likes hovered low. Plano's youth echo chamber still ringing with thorns. Sundays anchored with Jenna and the crew at a Legacy Drive smoker joint, brisket plates steaming amid laughter that drowned old echoes. Dorothy joined quarterly, her kindergarten tales blending with James's production war stories, the table a patchwork of loyalties forged in suburb fire. A new producer, Tyler, from a Denton label, slid into frame by November, his easy grin over late-night mixes sealing it. "Your thorns, they're the hooks that stick," he'd say, fingers tracing fretboards like promises. No lines crossed back to blood numbers blocked firm voicemails from shared contacts routed to delete. The county fair rolled around again that December, my booth commandeered for a showcase set 200 locals swaying under strung lights. Jenna manned merch. Dorothy clapped from the front row. Tyler tuning mid-song, the crowd, a chosen chorus, no ghosts invited. They called me Thorn in Plano side once. Now I'm the bloom they can't uproot, petals laced with edges sharp enough to carve my crown. Revenge didn't level the field, it rebuilt it mine. In Texas suburbs where legacies choke like kudzu, reclaiming power means pruning the vines that bind. Ever pruned your own? Drop it in the comments. Your story might just thorn up the next track.